Another startup? Really, Sarah? Mom's voice dripped with disappointment over our weekly family dinner. I thought you were past this phase. I pushed my untouched lasagna around my plate, trying to maintain my composure. At 32, I'd launched 3 successful tech companies, but to my parents, I was still their wayward daughter who refused to follow the proper career path. Quantum Solutions isn't just another startup, I explained, though I'd given this speech countless times. We're revolutionizing AI-driven cybersecurity. The technology we're developing could change everything. Dad scoffed, adjusting his GlobalTech corporate badge, the same company he'd loyally served for 25 years. You know what changes everything? A stable job with benefits. Like the position Janet offered you in GlobalTech's IT department. Yes, Janet. My older sister, the successful one. Vice President of Information Technology at GlobalTech, married to her college sweetheart, perfect house in the suburbs. The daughter who'd followed their carefully planned path to success. Janet's position is entry-level management, I countered. My last company sold for $50 million. And where's that money now? Mom asked pointedly. Sunk into another risky venture? They didn't understand that I'd invested every penny into developing quantum encryption technology that would make current cybersecurity systems obsolete. They couldn't see that while GlobalTech was still using outdated security protocols, my team was creating the future. You're not getting any younger, honey, Mom continued. Janet started at the bottom, worked her way up. Now she has stability, respect. And a corner office, Dad added proudly. Did you know GlobalTech just promoted her to oversee their entire cybersecurity division? I bit back a laugh. If they only knew what my team had discovered about GlobalTech's security vulnerabilities during our market research. My phone buzzed. A message from Alex, my CTO. It's happening. GlobalTech's board just saw the penetration test results. They're panicking. Speaking of Janet's cybersecurity division, I said carefully, has she mentioned any issues lately? Dad frowned. What do you mean? Right on cue his phone rang. The caller ID showed GlobalTech's CEO's office. His face paled as he answered. Emergency board meeting? Now. He stood up, grabbing his jacket. Sir. I'll be there in 20 minutes. Mom looked worried. Richard, what's wrong? Some kind of security breach, he muttered, already heading for the door. Major one from what Thompson's saying. Janet's been trying to contain it all day. I took a slow sip of wine, watching them scramble. 3 months ago, GlobalTech had arrogantly dismissed my team's warning about their system vulnerabilities. We have the best security in the industry, Janet had declared when I tried to show her the weaknesses we'd found. Now they were about to learn just how wrong they were. I should go too, I said, standing up. I have a meeting downtown anyway. A meeting? At this hour? Mom's disapproval was clear. Someone's about to make me a very interesting offer. Dad paused at the door. What kind of offer? I smiled, gathering my things. The kind that changes everything. 2 hours later, I sat in my sleek downtown office, watching GlobalTech's stock price plummet in real time. News of their catastrophic security breach had leaked, and the market was responding exactly as we'd predicted. Alex burst in, grinning. Their entire system is locked down. Janet's team can't even access basic functions. The board is losing their minds. And our solution? Ready to deploy. We can have them back online in under an hour. I leaned back in my chair, thinking about all the family dinners where they dismissed my dreams, all the times Janet had patronized my little tech projects. Any word from Thompson? Alex checked his tablet. GlobalTech's CEO is on his way up, along with their entire executive team. I stood up, smoothing my designer suit. Perfect. Let's show them what a real job looks like. GlobalTech's executive team filed into my conference room like chastened schoolchildren. CEO Thompson, usually the picture of corporate confidence, looked distinctly uncomfortable in his rumpled suit. Janet sat beside him, her face ashen, while Dad hovered near the back, trying to process seeing my name on the executive suite's door. Ms. Walker, Thompson began, his voice strained, thank you for meeting with us at this late hour. Of course, I replied smoothly. Cybersecurity emergencies wait for no one. Isn't that right, Janet? My sister's face flushed. 3 months ago she'd laughed when I warned her about their vulnerabilities. "We have a whole department handling this, Sarah," she'd said dismissively. "We don't need advice from a startup." "Let's cut to the chase," Thompson continued. "Our entire system is compromised. Customer data, financial records, proprietary information, all at risk. Your team's analysis was correct." I pulled up our original security audit on the room's screens. "You mean this analysis? The one Janet said was alarmist and unnecessary?" Dad stepped forward. "Sarah, please. The company's losing millions by the minute." "Actually," I corrected, displaying the real-time stock tracker, "you're losing billions. Your market value has dropped 40% in the last hour. When the Asian markets open in 3 hours, it'll get worse." "We need your help," Thompson said bluntly. "Your quantum encryption technology, it's the only system that could have prevented this." I smiled, remembering all the times my parents had questioned my choices. Interesting how that risky venture doesn't seem so risky now, doesn't it? Janet finally spoke up. "This isn't the time for 'I told you so,' Sarah. We're talking about people's jobs, their livelihoods. Now you care about consequences?" I pulled up more data. "When I showed you these vulnerabilities, I also showed you how many employees' personal data was at risk. You ignored that too." Alex entered with a stack of documents, distributing them to the executive team. "Our proposed solution," he explained. "Complete system overhaul, quantum encryption implementation, and ongoing security management." Thompson flipped to the last page and I saw his eyes widen at the figure. "This is substantial. Premium pricing for premium technology," I said calmly. "Plus an ownership stake in GlobalTech." "Ownership?" Dad sputtered. "You can't be serious." 20%, I stated firmly. "Non-negotiable. We're not just selling you technology, we're saving your company." Janet leaned forward. "And who would manage this implementation?" "My team. Exclusively. Your current cybersecurity division would report directly to Quantum Solutions." The implication hung in the air. Janet would be working for me. "This is extortion," she whispered. "No," I corrected. "This is business. You have exactly 1 hour to decide before we take this offer to your competitors. And believe me, after tonight they're all calling." My phone buzzed. Messages from 3 other major tech companies, all desperately seeking our protection. Funny how a single security breach could turn industry giants into supplicants. Thompson huddled with his team in the corner while I calmly checked emails. Dad approached my desk, looking at me as if seeing me for the first time. "All those startups," he said quietly. "All those risks we told you not to take. You knew, didn't you? You saw this coming." "I tried to tell you," I replied. "Every Sunday dinner, every family gathering. But you and Mom were too busy bragging about Janet's corner office to listen." "Ms. Walker." Thompson interrupted. "We accept your terms." I nodded to Alex, who brought over the final contracts. "Sign here. And here. Initial each page." As the documents circulated, Janet remained frozen in her chair. "What happens to my department?" "Don't worry, sis," I smiled. "We'll find something suitable for your experience level." The next morning, GlobalTech's stock rebounded on news of the Quantum Solutions partnership. Financial analysts praised the company's innovative approach to cybersecurity, while tech blogs buzzed about the quantum encryption technology that had just become the industry's new gold standard. I stood in my new office, formerly Thompson's executive suite, watching employees scurry about below. The past week had been a whirlwind of transitions, system implementations, and corporate restructuring. Janet had been reassigned to an advisory position, which basically meant she now reported to my junior team leads. "Your parents are here," Alex announced, appearing at my door. "They're waiting in the main conference room." I took my time walking there, remembering all the Sunday dinners where they'd lectured me about job security and corporate loyalty. Now they were sitting in my conference room in my company, trying to understand how their misguided daughter had become their boss's boss. "Sarah," Mom stood up as I entered, smoothing her dress nervously. "This is quite an office." "Quite a company," I corrected, sitting at the head of the table. "Though I'm sure you didn't come here just to admire the view." Dad cleared his throat. "We've been doing some thinking. About everything we said, Everything we assumed. You mean about how I was wasting my potential? How I needed to grow up and get a real job? I kept my voice level, professional. We were wrong, Mom admitted. So wrong. We didn't understand what you were building. No, I agreed. You didn't. And you never tried to. My phone buzzed. Another message from Microsoft CEO, desperately seeking a meeting. After GlobalTech's transformation, every major tech company wanted quantum solutions protection. Janet told us she's being transferred to the satellite office, Dad ventured. In Detroit. Actually, she requested that transfer herself, I replied. Something about wanting to explore new opportunities. The truth was more complicated. Janet couldn't handle reporting to my team, people she'd dismissed as startup kids just months ago. Her pride wouldn't let her stay and watch her little sister revolutionize the company she'd spent 15 years climbing. You've changed everything, Mom said softly. The whole industry is talking about your technology. I pulled up our latest projections on the room's displays. This is just the beginning. Next month we're launching a global security initiative. Every major tech company will either adopt our standards or become obsolete. And GlobalTech? Dad asked. What happens to all the employees? To their families? You mean, am I going to dismantle the company out of revenge? I smiled slightly. Unlike some people, I can separate business from personal matters. GlobalTech will prosper, under proper leadership and with superior technology. Alex appeared with more urgent messages. 3 government contracts, 2 multinational banks, and a Silicon Valley giant all wanting meetings. I have to go, I stood up. Unlike some positions, CEO of a global tech firm actually requires attention to detail. Sarah, wait. Mom reached for my hand. We'd like you to come to dinner on Sunday. Janet will be there before she leaves for Detroit. Maybe we could all. Sorry, I cut her off. I'm flying to Singapore tonight. Meeting with Asian tech leaders about implementing our security protocols. Maybe next month, if my schedule allows. As they left, looking somewhat shell-shocked, I returned to my office. The city sprawled below, but my eyes were drawn to the GlobalTech logo now prominently displaying, secured by quantum solutions beneath it. My phone rang. Janet. Hello, sis, I answered. How's the transfer planning going? You're really going through with this, she said, her voice tight. Sending me to Detroit. As I recall, you chose Detroit. We offered you several options. Options, she laughed bitterly. You mean different ways to be humiliated? To watch my little sister dismantle everything I built? No, Janet. I'm building something better. Something you could have been part of if you'd listened 3 months ago. There was a long pause. I should have taken you seriously. Yes, I agreed. You should have. After hanging up, I reviewed the latest system updates. GlobalTech's security was now light years ahead of its competitors, thanks to our quantum encryption. The same technology Janet had dismissed as a pipe dream was now protecting millions of users worldwide. Alex entered with more contracts requiring my signature. The board wants to discuss global expansion. And Thompson's requesting a meeting about his retirement package. Schedule the board for tomorrow, I said, signing the documents. As for Thompson, tell him I'm available next week. He can wait, just like I waited all those years for someone to take me seriously. That evening, as my private jet headed toward Singapore, I thought about the long road that had led here. Every dismissed idea, every condescending comment, every family dinner spent defending my choices, they'd all become stepping stones to this moment. My phone buzzed with a message from Mom. Found this while cleaning. Thought you might want it. The attached photo showed a science fair project from my teenage years. A crude but ambitious attempt at encryption software. Dad had called it a hobby. Janet had called it cute. Now similar code, refined and evolved, was revolutionizing global cybersecurity. I typed a response. Keep it. Put it next to Janet's corporate achievement awards. A reminder that success doesn't always wear a suit and tie. Looking out at the clouds, I smiled, thinking about next quarter's plans. GlobalTech was just the beginning. Soon, every major corporation would face a choice. Adapt to our standards or become vulnerable to the very threats we'd warned them about. And my family? They'd finally have to accept that their misguided daughter hadn't just found success. she'd redefined it. Their precious corporate ladder had become obsolete, replaced by something they'd never understood: true innovation. The irony wasn't lost on me. They'd spent years telling me to get a real job, never realizing I was creating the future of work itself. Now their entire concept of corporate success reported to the daughter they'd underestimated. Sometimes the best revenge isn't proving others wrong. It's proving yourself so right that they have no choice but to follow your lead. As my jet descended into Singapore, where eager tech leaders awaited my arrival, I couldn't help but think, sometimes a waste of time becomes the most valuable thing in the world. You just have to be brave enough to believe in it when no one else will. The Singapore meetings exceeded all expectations. By the time I returned to the States, Quantum Solutions had secured partnerships with 6 major Asian tech conglomerates. Our quantum encryption technology wasn't just changing GlobalTech. It was reshaping the entire digital security landscape. Walking into GlobalTech's headquarters, now featuring both our logos prominently displayed, I noticed the subtle changes. Employees who once barely acknowledged me now scrambled to open doors. The same executives who'd dismissed my warnings months ago practically bowed as I passed. "Ms. Walker," my assistant caught up with me. "The quarterly numbers are in. Global implementation has exceeded projections by 200%. Also, Janet's replacement is waiting in your office." I paused. "I didn't approve any replacement." "No, but your parents did. They're in there too." Interesting. I entered my office to find Mom, Dad, and a familiar face. My cousin David, Janet's husband's brother, wearing an ill-fitting suit and an eager expression. "Sarah." Mom stepped forward. "We thought, since Janet's position is open." "Let me stop you right there." I held up my hand. "First, Janet's former position no longer exists. We've completely restructured the security division. Second, what makes you think you have any say in our hiring decisions?